hi there. So basically my friend asked me if it's possible to create a simplest possible web service in Java, and then she complained that it's not possible to do in using IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition, which is totally not true. While Ultimate Edition is a little bit better, but anyway, like all of the functionality available in so in Community Edition is kind of enough for creating the Spring-based application, which is I'm going to show how exactly to do right now. So application is going to be quite simple, so it's just like 2 tables in database, and I'll be probably using Postgres because why not, and interface will just like add, remove some stuff, and it's like REST, JSON, all the stuff like that, pretty standard, but using solely Community Edition. So here's it. So it's IntelliJ, and then we start by creating new projects, and of course I will be googling on the way as I not quite remember everything by heart. So if you check interface, it's doesn't seem likely that it's so like Ultimate Edition actually provides a lot of functionality on the top, so Spring is in this list and you can just create a Spring one. But we will start with just Maven, and no archetypes, no nothing, just empty project. Name would be just as yeah, its name, it's not package, sorry. And basically that's it. It creates this empty project with nothing in it. What else needs to be done? So Spring does a lot of improvement later years, and it provides Spring Boot as a like kind of orchestration tool for running all things Spring. So while you can actually do it using individual packages or individual libraries, dependencies and stuff, it's much better to use Spring Boot. And it do have support for both Maven and Gradle. It's up to you, totally up to you what to use. So just name of the application, and artifact ID would be basic Spring example. Not that it's matter much, but just to make it consistent, I would say. So what do we need to put into the basic Spring Boot application? Just quickly Google it, Spring Boot, and it's starter, and it's let's say GPA, yeah, it will be just enough. And there's a guide, of course, for Spring Boot, and we will just copy paste cookies, of course, yes, print them on. There is a tool which is named Spring Initializer, which is like giving you all the dependencies at once and kind of make you happy at some point, but I never used it and I don't see any actually useful reason for that. To make it Spring Boot application, you need to have a parent, and then it's actually doing all the like interlooping of the components for you. It's starter parent, so all the dependencies, very useful thing. So then this can be skipped actually. Then dependencies, Spring Boot data, H2 is probably what we want to use. It's useful tool for testing. And then as I plan to use Postgres, I will need the Postgres dependency. Even just whatever pops up first, and that's my version of Postgres is 12. I guess only 9 is available, but I guess it might be good enough. Let's just check it out and see if it works. We need Maven format for that, and what else? As it will be REST, starter REST. Yep, RESTful web service. So that will be blah blah blah, and I do need just a dependency name. So here it is. Yes, starter web. And then I will need also plugins for the Spring Boot, because it's actually key point to running this thing, as without it won't actually do much stuff. Lombok, yeah, I do need Lombok, and Maven setup for it is a little bit different. So then, yeah, this description, and I do need the dependency, and I do need to enable annotations, but that's a little bit later. What else do I need? It seems that I don't need nothing more. Okay, so then check if I get everything correct. Import changes with whatever here, and it should load me everything I need. Let's check also structure of application. It has main, and it has test, and it has resources, and it has Java in both places, so that's good. It's loading dependencies. It will take some time, and then meanwhile I will just create packages. Okay, so packages. Just to be consistent here, I will name it same as artifacts, basic Spring ledger. So basically that's a package for whole application, and then we do need to have application main class, application, and I keep forgetting how to properly put it together, so I just usually Google it. Okay, so there's some example here. Okay, so it's entities, simple queries. Oh, application class, that's one I need. I need it to be that. Just put it here, and then it should be application, and that should be application as well here. And it seems that, yeah. So now the basic possible, like easiest possible Spring application is actually just have been created, and like for Ultimate Edition of IDEA you will have like nice icons here, like near the annotations to show how everything is connected. But otherwise it's just good enough. So here's the plugins, and here's the Spring Boot plugin, and you can run it just straight away. So it's compiling, it's checking if everything is fine, and then it's saying that okay, I started the application, but yeah, there's no database available, so just like it's tried to connect to database and it failed because there's no connection to database available. As I'm using Postgres, I need to create application.yml, and that's main configuration file. And then let's Google. It's much easier than remembering all of this. So Postgres Spring boot configuration. So here it is. It will probably spit out something, and this something is, let's make it here, and building, bootstrapping, blah blah blah. And there's, yeah, that's the part I do need to include. So this one, and as it should be YAML, not whatever nonsense it was before. So it will be Spring data source columns, and it's like that. It's much more convenient than properties files, and username is whatever. I'm local user. Password is local password, and there is skill dalit. Okay, so that's one. So then what do we need else? We need to create actually database, which is already created. It's called the same way as application, and not this one, like this. Yes. Now we need to create a, yeah, it do work. Okay, so then let's start from the bottom, and for this we will need some models, which will be just models, and for models we do need player, let's say, and we do need wager, which is wager. Okay, so for player we say it's entity, we say it's getter setter, let's say it's data. So this will generate the necessary constructors for, just so it will be able to just put in the data we want, and it will just create everything else. For this to actually work, we need to enable annotation processors, which are in languages frameworks, no tools. Just put here annotation and you'll find it. Yeah, annotation processors, you need to enable them, and those which are on class path will be executed then. And also you need to have the Lombok plugin for IDEA to be able to help you actually run them. So actually to connect with Lombok and to make it work properly. And after there, okay, so this was downloaded, installed, and we need to restart it, and this one was running, we don't need it anymore, so we can terminate. And then it is starting. Yay, loading components. Reopening files. Yada yada yada. Okay. First time after Lombok update, it will ask to donate, and I kind of encourage you to do it, while I didn't do it before, and I'm ashamed of it. So please do support this wonderful plugin and infrastructure. So okay, so player will have, and probably we do need also game here, just to make it nice. Okay, so player should have ID. It could be something else. It's as you like. Identity. How do you call it? Identity. ID it's called, right? Yes, it's called ID. It needs to be generated value. Yes. Then it should have full name, because I don't want to bother with like full name. That will be just enough. And that should be not null. It should be not null. Okay, so then we have game, which do have, it's an entity, and then it should have also, it's also data. It should have, again, it should have ID, which need to be ID, and it should be generated value, and then it should have private local time started. It should be also not null. It should have probably name as well, name, whatever. So then it should have also, is it enough? Then what's wager is entity. It should have ID. While it's not actually necessary, but it's nice to have. Generated value. It need to have player who waged, and it need to ask. It need to have game, and it need to be. Don't remember what it need to be. Let's check it. So Java persistent. It's main1 is it. Let's check. Whatever shows you the example is good enough. Okay, so it's main1, and join column if you want different name, not the generated one. Just can have this one, no problem. And lazy fetch don't need it, and this one is also main1. Sorry, main2 1 to 1. And there was another useful thing, which is let's do this. Update. Let's synchronize everything by itself. It should do it pretty nice, but in production you need to actually do it via Hibernate or via Liquibase, because otherwise it's just no. Don't do it with auto update. Okay, good. So now we have some entities connected to game, connected to it should be also data. So data, what does it do? Okay, so you can download sources of almost everything in Java world, which is very cool. And there's description what data actually means. It means that Lombok will generate for you getter, setter, required args constructor to string tables and hash code. It is very useful. Just you don't need to write getter, setter like everything. It just will be there for you, so no problem at all. Then it could be a good idea to test this, or otherwise exclude it from analysis. But just let's skip it for now, and then do package. Package we will need to have data access layer. So let's call it repository. It's just whatever you want to call it, so it's not a problem. So that's very simple. You just do interface, which extends existing Spring interfaces. So it will be game interface, game repository, which can do CRUD, just create request, update everything, and it's for game, and it's type of the ID is integer, just that. So, and we mark it as a repository, so Spring can take it up and be able to inject it, do the Spring magic. And then we do same for player repository, and we do this repository. It should be interface, and it should extend also to CRUD for player integer, and then same for wager. I will skip totally the transactions now here, because it's a whole lot of different topic, but of course in real world you need to implement it. So just Google, and it's plenty of information on this, so no problem at all. Player repository, and it's interface as well, and it needs to extend again CRUD repository for wager and for integer key repository. Okay, so that's done. Then controllers, it's like main point of interaction with whatever outside world is. You just do it should be first package, which is controllers, and there could be also services in between, which kind of overkill for this kind of simple application, but probably good idea to think about this architecture. If you want deeper layering, for example, controller could verify the input data, and then services can validate the business logic. So this idea, but it's totally up to you if you want to do it. And the bigger the project is, the more you sure that you need actually service layer as well. But for this simple one, no, just don't. So then let's say it's player controller, and then it's REST controller. Yeah, we have REST controller here, and it is let's look at sources. It should have it should have 4, so that's okay. Actually, we don't need to do anything here, it's good enough. So it's REST controller. Let's do it like ultimate version of idea, do a lot of validations, so it's kind of quite useful, but it's not necessary to I wonder if there is let's check what's there. It's mapping. Okay, so that's actually it doesn't have pass, which is a shame. Okay, so I do like much more the standard annotations from Java itself, so not Spring annotations for services, but it's a little bit longer to set up, so just I would go with that. So then what do we need here? We need here to just also do required args constructor from Lombok, just to make it like just all args constructor actually. And then we do need to have private it's player controller, so player repository. Let's do it like this. And then we need to have public get players, and that would be just list of those, or it can be set, doesn't matter, but list is good enough. It should be list player. In real life, probably you need to distinguish between like data layer and controller level entities like data transfer objects and database objects. But for this example, you just can do it as simple, just to show that it actually will work. And you don't need to actually filter anything, so just return player repository get. It's very strange. It should be okay. Just okay, so it's a little bit slow. No, find all. It's not get all. It's find all. Terrible to list. Okay, that's doesn't know why it's iterable. It should be. Is there any other paging and sorting? No, we don't want this one. This one is complicated. Just okay, it's iterable is probably good enough. To make it even better, we can just do splitterator stream support. Stream from splitterator not parallel, and then collect it to list. That's a little bit cumbersome. That's probably easier way to do it, but it's just good enough. So that will be get mapping for player, and then that will be get mapping for particular player, which is player ID, and that would be like optional player. Let's put it this way: player idea complains that pass variable of name ID int ID. So then just do return player repository find by ID. Is it optional? Yeah, it's optional. Okay, so yeah, actually idea doesn't complain anymore, but it's quite often do it if you do optional as a return of a function, or if you put it into a function that it's totally not agreeing to the idea version of like optionals, but anyway, it's good enough. And okay, so what else do I need to do? I do need to say that it's okay, so get mapping, I guess it's here, yes. So I do need to say that it produces application.json. Otherwise it will be producing some nonsense like XML or something. Just produces application.json. So then what do I need more? Public response. Okay, response entity. Is it? Okay, I don't remember how to do this correctly, so I just do it easiest possible way. Public player, and then I do here's a player, here's a player, then it's post mapping to also to player, and that should be consumes application.json and produces as well application.json. And then what do I do next? I do return just simply player repository save player. That's it. Should be enough. And like in real world, you probably need to do some validation. I put some like basic non-null ID, something generated value. And yeah, in real world you need to check the constraints, but as I'm just playing around, you don't need to do anything like that, and it's good enough. So then what else? Add player, and then for example, what do I need to do here? I need to do so total win and total wager, and okay, so then what do I do? Then I do wager actually need to have is it won or lost and amount. So it's private. Actually, it's optional boolean. I wonder if it's optional boolean. If it will work, we'll see. As well. Okay, just winning. Is it winning one? Winning, yeah. And then it is. Oh yeah. So here the idea is complaining about use it as type, but just disregard it. So yeah, just bullshit. And then what else? Amount. Let's try to do it. Just it's incorrect to do so, but just for sake of simplicity, it will be int, which makes amount of cents. So then it needs to be divided by 100 to get actual amount, or just dollars. We don't go into cents like money. Just int, good enough. In reality, you would need to actually do some research on how to properly represent money in database. So what else? Okay, so get public. Just it's also will be int. Okay, then maybe it will go to wager controller just to make it a little bit easier, maybe, or not, or is it good enough? It's good enough. Yeah, let it go here, but it's like a little bit bad design, so please avoid it. But to make it faster, it's easier to make it this way. Win amount. Maybe let's do it like that. Actually, let's make it boolean. Let's make it as constructor. Yeah. Win amount. ID. Get mapping. Player ID. 1. And then we get we need to have the, for example, let's go to wager repository, and then it will be list of wager, and that will be find by player ID, and winning. And I believe the string is good enough with. Okay, and then it will be ID and player ID and boolean winning. So Spring should be clever enough to generate query by that. Actually, we'll check it out if it will be possible. If not, then we will Google. So then we have wager repository. We have fun by player ID and winning. We have actually I can do here stream because I do need a stream more than. Is it complaining bad? I never used it. Okay, that's fine. That we will use it now. I can have the stream because I need stream more. And why is it okay? Don't need that. And we have player ID here, and it's true. And then here's a pass param, pass variable ID. With that, we do need to map to int wager get money, because we already selected only winning ones, and then we need to just sum it. Yes, and then we return it. So yes, that's it. Second thing is total wager amount, and that will be just waged amount, which is waged amount. And if it's not clear if it's won or not, just take it null there. Can I do it like that? Probably I can, but we'll see. And then we can do waged amount and another one, just let's say count wages, total count, wages, count, and we do it with what? We do it with just counting everything, just so we don't just need to find by player ID, that's it. It's long, okay, so it kind of thinks that we can have quite a lot of those, so just long is good enough. Okay, that's players controller, and it's good enough. And then what do we do else? We do games controller, and that will be game controller. And game controller will be just also REST controller, and it do need to have Lars constructor, and it do need to have just private game repository, and then we do need to have all of that, just players, games, posts, yes, and then we do have this, and then we do have just player replace player with game, and it will be fun. Player game. Okay, that's unfortunate. Let's do it like that. Preserve case. Player with game. Replace all. Is it working? Okay, so we need to import stuff. Good. And we don't need that. Good. Okay, so now wager controller. It's a REST controller, and it do need somewhat different setup. I just do this like that. It needs to have actually all the repositories, because it's like unfortunate tightly coupling, which is bad, but what can we do? So that then will be Voyager repository. It has a game repository. It has player repository. So now what do? We do it with same stuff, but a little bit different. So it's replacing player with Voyager. Replace all. Import Voyager. Good. And let's do it by player ID actually. Not, we don't need. Or is good enough? It's good enough. Good enough. So it's to find one, and then for Voyager we actually do it a little bit differently. We do it Voyager, or let's maybe for Voyager we'll need the data transfer object, because it has references, and sending over the wires full object is not a good idea. So then we do have Voyager DTO, which stands for data transfer object, and it will be data, and it will have all our constructor, and it will need to have a private int, just player ID, and private int game ID, and then private int money. And that's it. Don't need anything else. So this one will be Voyager DTO, and it will be returning the full object which is saved. So then, oh, I forgot one thing, but I will do it right now. Voyager DTO. So it need to say that it's request body. It need to say that it's response body for post mappings. Response body, and this is also response body. Probably this actually might be not needed, but let's do it anyway. Response. Yeah, so the same thing is for everything else, but let's finish this one. So repository found by ID, player ID, and that's need to be local variable 1 game. Just now. It's player, and then we do I will just let it fall in case of some problems, so I'll just get it, and that's it. Get you won't need to do it like in real life. You need to actually work around your problems, because it will be not nice exception if something will fail. So then just Voyager is it's a new one, and it should have ID. Actually not necessary. It's maybe acquire task constructor should be a bit way. Okay, let's make it integer. Constructor would look like that. That's null. We don't need this one. Winning is also null. Voyager D2 is Voyager D2 player game, and then save new Voyager, and that's not optional. It will be saved unless it failed with exception. Good enough. Not nice, but good enough. So let's do nice things here, because we do need to have response body here and here. Or maybe you don't need this, but you can always check it later, because like why not? Here's no real other options. And then what else? And this one should be actually request body, and then this is what else? And again, this one should be integer, not int, else it could be null. And then this one is just for fun. We actually don't need this. And player is also need to have integer, as it's could be nullable integer. Okay, so then this one is. Okay, let's see if it works. I can almost 100% bet that it won't, but let's see. It's pretty good. Why do we have two of those? Anyway, run. Pool started, everything is kind of connected. Do we actually have it working at any point at all? Localhost 8080 standard port which it usually runs, so let's try to get players. And no, it's not working because it should be player. Method not allowed. Why? Get mapping is here, it produces. Okay, so Internet Explorer, like Chrome is actually don't like when it doesn't understand what it requests. So this one is correct, but it won't work in Chrome, so just skip it. You don't need that, and produces also. It will, I believe it anyway, it will just create a JSON, but it will be working better if you just skip this produces. Unfortunately, I keep forgetting that it's a little bit of an issue. Produces, consumes, it's needed because otherwise it won't know that it's JSON, but produces you can skip. Here, consumes, string controller, produces, yeah, don't need that. Or maybe actually, okay, that's actually maybe other problem here, just like that. It's probably also trailing slash is not that required. To be totally sure about that, you need to read documents, which I didn't. Why? Because I won't just know. So I once spent quite a lot of time just taking Spring manual, and I didn't like this experience. So just this one is saved, so let's restart, check it out. Is it running? Now, compiled everything, agents, blah blah blah. It seems that it's actually worked. Okay, do we have any players? We don't, because it's empty database. Does it have we generated anything in Postgres? Use ledger. No. Let's see. Ledger. Yes. So do we have any data? Yes, it created actually several things. So it's created the tables, game, player, and wager, and it's created Hibernate sequence, which is used to generate IDs. Okay, so now how to create anything in these tables? Let's try to do it like that. So new. So there's like Postman, and there's other nice tools to do it, but Scroll is just good enough. We do post, we do header, we do content type to be application JSON, and we do data as what do we need for player? For player we need just full name. Good enough. I believe you need to use just camel case, but in case if not, it will complain. Player 1, and we are sending this post to localhost hosts 8080 player. Working? Yes, it returned that it generated one player with ID 1 and full name player 1. So, and yeah, for some reason it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? For player it worked actually, yes. So why? It's data and it's we have this player. Same. Yeah, of course. It should be request body, yes, and restart. And yeah, now it has everything in place. So now we have players. Yes, we have games. One with ID 6, which is unfortunately created incorrectly, and second with ID 7. So then we can do just wager. So for wager we do it, let's do it like that, let's do it just game ID 7 and player ID 1 and money 20, whatever. Yay, it's actually created, and as it's not lazy load and it's non-DT object, it just loads everything which is referenced. And this wager is unclear if it's winning or not, so it's just null. Let's put 12, let's put 45. So then there is a, let's say player 1, no, it's not found, so player 1 is here, player 3 is not found, which is good. Should be a little bit different, but good enough. What does the one? It's nothing, because I probably put incorrect URL there. No, correct one, why? Steam method results running. Okay, so it's actually need to be transactional, which doesn't change much, so then just transactional. Let's, yeah, whatever. And this one is also based on transactional. It should be actually Spring transaction, but it doesn't matter much. It will work with both of those. But just, yeah. Is it working? Yes, it is. Maybe. Okay, let's, is it? Yeah, so we haven't won anything because no outcomes are yet clear. What we waged. Why? Is it no default constructor for entities? So we do need to do a little bit better. So it's empty constructor is also here. No args constructor close. Yeah, no args constructor, because it's if there's all args constructor, no args constructor is suppressed by Lombok, so it need to actually do it once more. Will it work now? We'll see. So yeah, we waged 77 points of money, and what else can we ask? We can ask also wages count. Wages count, which is just 3 wages. And there's no interface. Okay, so let's do it a little bit. How? Okay, let's do it just in database, but you can apply the same principles of controller and repositories and do the update in actual application, like through the REST API, but yeah, I'm just lazy to do it now, so we'll just update in Postgres. From wager, you see there's several wagers, and we can do update wager where set winning true, where ID is 8, and then when ID is 9 we will set false, so it actually win one wager and lost another one, whatever it means. And then we have wages count still ongoing, still 3, but waged only 45, as only one last bet is still not clear what is it, and we can see which is won. We won 20, as the first one was actually won by player. So that concludes everything. You can actually do a perfect split application inside the community edition idea, no problem at all. It might be a little bit inconvenient sometimes, but it totally works. So what are the differences in Ultimate Edition? I have this one as well, so let's just open it inside the Ultimate Edition. Let's check it out. So the differences are not that many. It's like a little bit more convenient, just a little bit. So it's opening my old projects, which you don't need to worry about at all, because it's different language even. Just slows everything down, and yeah, it's probably a little bit slower than Community Edition. So let's open. It was saved to my home folder with inside IntelliJ projects, and it's basic Spring. And let's open this window. So import changes. And yeah, so what does it have? So first of all, if we go to application, it will, okay, we need to enable annotation processors, because by default it doesn't do it anywhere for some weird reason. Annotation processors. Oh, it's enabled. Okay, that's good. So yeah, then probably that's first benefit. It enables it by default or something. Then we can go to applications, and once, why it's not stop? It should be. Okay, still doesn't. So let's just do it. Some kind of Java. So lot of those. Anything will do. So it's doing indexing once more, just for the sake of it, whatever. So yeah, in Ultimate Edition there is a Spring tab, which was not available in the basic one, and it's like it contains all the detected beans. As I'm using Spring Boot now, it's plenty of those, so it has a lot of after configuration related to all aspects of like everything, just everywhere. And it has this nice tiny icons which you can navigate through your application using those, so you can just do the like okay Spring diagram, navigate to context configurations if any, and probably won't won't be much because it's all configured by annotations. It has, what is it? Yeah, it has like list of whatever beans are loaded during this. So we can go to game repository and see that okay, it's actually here. You can use this one to check what context is loaded into. We can go to controller and check that it's like okay, what is it? Yeah, basically it's navigation between contexts. So what is loaded where and why. So if you have a complex Spring application which contains several contexts and like you might need it, but in simple Spring Boot application, no, it's just good enough to have. It's like Community Edition is just good enough. So what else it doesn't have? Oh, okay, so it's persistence, some kind of description of how it's connected together, how it's some useful hints on persistence as well. So it's maybe a little bit easier to track than to just. But if you're reading the code, it's good enough. It's perfectly good. Just build it. So one other feature it has Spring Boot somewhere here. Yes, and you can just like it just does some extra stuff. Oh, it's actually wanting to select class. Okay. So it selects the applicable classes, and then you can do application. There's like a little bit better control of like parameter profiles and various stuff, but it's not that it's very doing anything like very complicated. It can be totally controlled with Maven Spring Boot run, and it will be working just fine. But it's like it's doing the totally same stuff. A little bit fancier, a little bit nicer, a little bit. So it has some kind of additional control during the run. What is it doing? Like, is it whatever? So how it's exactly wired together, but not that it's very important. It will be working just the same way as in Community Edition in most of the cases. So that's it. Enjoy, have fun.